Let me know if you're able to see me and hear me well. Welcome to this week's live Q&A. Um, just making sure everything is working fine. Please let me know in the comments if you're able to see me and hear me okay. I'm streaming in 3 different platforms, so just making sure that everything is working fine. And you guys are here in my new studio. It's still under work in progress, but I will show you like a quick glimpse of how it's coming along. Uh, and the internet might be a little slow because I'm quite a bit away from my home. But so yeah, so in case if there's any trouble hearing and seeing me, please let me know. Okay. All right. So let's get started. Before I get on to those questions, I have like three. So this session is going to be for 20 minutes or so. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, please um, type it in the comments. I'll be able to see it and we'll be able to answer it as they come. And also, I wanted to share that I'm working on a free training resource for you all. So, for whoever is just starting out and trying to kickstart their oil painting journey, just let me know whatever struggles and difficulties that you are having. I'll probably sum it up in few subjects. I already asked in the group regarding whether you want brushwork techniques or composition problems or what else did I ask? Storytelling, or if you're having issues with painting loose style, let me know. Just pick one or two subjects, and I'll see if I'll be able to compile it into one free training resource for you. So I'll be working on it this weekend. So you have some time to give me your input, and I can work on it. All right. Okay. So let's see. The first question. I think I got this even before I put up that I had a live today. So this is from Alan. So I'm just going to read out the question. So I find that as I start painting, I keep adding more and more strokes, which seem to clutter the painting and eventually leads to overpainting. Maybe I'm thinking less is more, but I'm not sure. Okay, all right. So I've seen both, like for the beginner artist, what I generally find is that they don't use enough paint. So it's not even regarding paint. It's about how effectively you can transfer the paint from the palette to the canvas. So the whole of painting, if you see, is divided into two segments, and I think it should be uh, have equal importance. So you need to be at your canvas 50% of the time, and the remaining 50% you have to be in your palette. So the main problem I find with beginner artists when they are just starting out is that they try to get the paint from the canvas itself. So they are not going back as much as they should on to the palette, because every time you go to your canvas from your palette, you need to make a decision whether you are laying the paint that's on your brush or you're pushing the paint that's already there, right? So you're either laying the paint what's on your brush or you're pushing the paint what's on your canvas. So I think this distinction is very important, that you understand what the brush is doing. So for example, it's not even a question of whether the paint is less or if the paint is more, because you may end up using the whole tube of paint, and yet your canvas may not look like you have used the whole tube of paint, because the brushworks don't imply that. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I feel to have a better brushwork and to see those strokes effectively, you end up using less paint if you know exactly how your brush is working. Okay, so I think that's very critical to understand and be sensitive as to what your brush is doing, because even if your brush is completely full, you may not be able to transfer that entire paint that's on your brush onto the canvas, because you may not be holding it right, or you may not be able to lay down the paint what's already like on top of what's already there. So you need to see and clarify what's happening there. Okay, so I don't feel it's a clutter, and I don't feel it leads to overpainting if you are able to distinguish and are aware of what your brush is doing all the time. But yes, the main thing is you have to focus as much as you're focusing on canvas, on your palette as well. Like you need to be continually mixing new paint. Like once your brush is off the canvas, and when you look at your brush, it should be empty. Like you shouldn't have much paint there at all. Even if you're like having some extra paint, you need to like wipe it off completely before you go on to your palette and uh, do some new mixing again. Like for in my academy and for all my students, I don't recommend pre-mixing at all, because I find it's much more inviting and much more in the moment if you're responding to what's happening on the canvas. So I don't have anything against artists who already premix their paints, but I feel that it's too early to decide what's happening on the canvas. So if you're already pre-mixing your paints, it means that you have already made a decision of what your references, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. But that's not going to, because that's not what's going to happen, because your reference is only a reference, and it can never be exactly the same on your canvas no matter what you do, right? So if it's not going to be exactly the same no matter what you do, it means that whatever you may have pre-mixed the paints is not responding to what's happening in your canvas at that moment, right? So you may have slightly created from reference, which is completely okay, but pre it's not allowed to change canvas. That's for you. So I find that going back to your palette is much more important, and it's much more better way to put it. In either you are adding more paints or adding less paint, I feel that if you're very much aware of how much paint is coming off from your palette and how much is on the canvas, if you know that one thing, then I think you will like know and grow very, very fast. Okay, and when it comes to overpainting, I find that overpainting is only an issue if you don't know what your end result is. Like you have to know beforehand, like before you start painting, what story or what message or what is your vision that you're trying to convey. The reference is only a reference. It doesn't do anything beyond that. It's exactly like a brush. It's exactly like any other tools. Like just use reference as your guide, like, or use your reference as a tool, like as your brush. It can only do so much, but what you do with it is what counts. So when you talk about overpainting, I find that overpainting shouldn't even be brought up if you have a very strong vision from the start. Okay, so you need to understand before you start, like you don't need to have all the answers. So I'm not saying that you need to have all the answers, because the entire process of painting is solving problems as they come, right? But you need to know the end goal. Like if you're going from here to the grocery store, you need to know which grocery store you're going to go to. Now, you may not know the road to go to the grocery store, which is completely fine, but you have to know which grocery store you're going to. If you know which grocery store it is, and if that's the confirmed destination, then you can plan out the easiest route to reach there. But what I find from most beginner artists and even intermediate artists is that they are so focused on getting started and going on the road that they still haven't understood what their end goal is or what their end journey is. And that's why I find that people, when they say that they don't know when to stop working on a painting, or they don't know like what's wrong, or they don't know like, okay, when do I stop? So that's because they've already started something and they're already on the road, but they don't know what their end goal is, right? So to avoid all that, it's much better to like just calm yourself, just take a breath. And if you're working from a reference or working outdoors, just see what is that vision and what is that message that you want to convey. It's only going to take few seconds, right? So that's more important than you losing hours and sometimes even weeks seeing if you have even like done the painting completely or not. Okay, so I find that to be important. All right, so I hope that answers your question. If not, please let me know. All right. So I have another Sherry. She's asking me to talk about stories in painting. Yeah. So this again resonates to what I spoke earlier regarding in terms of having a strong vision. So I'm going to repeat that just a bit more. So I feel that no matter what you are working on, no matter if it's a still life or if it's a landscape or portrait, they are all just guides for you to convey what you want, right? So for example, you may be interested in landscapes, right? So and if you're interested in landscapes, you can use landscapes as a tool to bring out your ideas. So that's like a prop for you to bring about your ideas. So don't make the landscape itself as the goal, right? Like no matter what the landscape is, you're never going to be able to copy it. No matter what happens, even the photos cannot copy it. Like no matter what happens, you will not be able to copy it. And even if you do, it may not look the same for the others, right? Because everybody's view on something is completely different. But what you can do is use that prop, use that landscape as a guide about your views. So this is what I like drill into my students in my academy, is that before you start, just make a list of points. Okay, has this been so far or not? Because for the very first question I asked them is even before I give out any critique, is that your vision? Like, what is your vision? Like, being coming forth yet? Because the moment you start working on canvas, within the first half hour or within the first hour, you need to be able to see the vision in your canvas. Like, you should be able to see that grocery store. Okay, you have to be able to see that grocery store, and then start adding more road to go there. But if you're not able to see the end goal even after an hour, it means you didn't have a plan at all from the start, right? So you need to bring that end goal as quickly as you can from the start. Like, you don't wait for the end goal at the end. You need to end goal as close to you from the start. Means that you're working from the back. Like, you adding strokes, adding paint, important area first, and then go about the areas which are not so important. So start adding and start bringing the important elements of which vision first, and then add the other. All right. So I have Cheryl. She's tuning in from LinkedIn. So she's asking, what about value discrepancies? And I've overworked tons of paintings because I had no vision of message I'm trying to convey. Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. So if you just understand what it is that you want to share and what it is that you want to bring about in your paintings that your audience would want to know or learn from you, I think that would be a very good starting point. Okay. All right. Let's see. Difficulty painting objects. Okay, so this is another question where this person is asking that they have difficulty painting objects. So what I would recommend doing is, instead of painting objects, see everything as abstract shapes. Because even if it's a mountain because from your childhood that it's a mountain, right? But before you knew it was a mountain, it was only an abstract shape even for you, right? Like you learn something and then it sticks in your head that, okay, that object is a mountain, or that object is a river, or that object is a sky, right? But if you didn't have, like, I just heard about this few weeks back, and I don't know if it's true or not. Apparently, when who's the guy who discovered America? When the English were coming with their boats for the very first time to the States, like on the East Coast, or I don't know if it's on the West Coast, the the indigenous people who were there on the land, they didn't see the boat at all, because they didn't know what the boat was. Like, they didn't know something like that could even exist. So it shows how far that once you are able to associate a word or an idea to a object, then that idea gets carried away along with the object, and object becomes less uh, itself, because an object is an abstract thing before you associate ideas to it, right? So I feel that everything around us, we have associated some ideas, we have associated the naming convention. So that's the reason sometimes when artists who do only landscapes, they find difficulty when they are working on portraits, and those are doing only portraits, they have difficulty painting still lifes or landscapes, because they start to associate everything with a name or with an idea. So they cannot see beyond that. So to see beyond that is, it means that you need to be able to unlearn associating the naming convention or the idea associated with that word or that object. Okay, so it again comes back to being abstract. So if you want to paint loose, if you want to paint free, and if you want to paint more confidently, you need to start unlearning and disassociating with the naming convention and the ideas associated with every object. So I know it's a bit hard, but the more you see it as abstract shapes, then you won't be concerned whether it's a mountain or if it's a portrait or if it's a still life or any landscape. You see everything as is and you see it as it appears. You just are focused on the light. You are just focused on the shadows. You are just focused on how the light moves through the landscape, because light itself is abstract. So that's the most abstract thing you can have, right? And you're trying to paint the light always. So instead of painting objects, paint the light, no matter what it falls on, because your main subject for any painting is the light. Okay, so I hope that helps. So I think I don't have any more questions beyond this. Please let me know. I'll probably count to five. Meanwhile, I just want to repeat again that this weekend I'll be working on a free training for you guys. So please let me know in the comments or in the chat in the Facebook group, or if you're on LinkedIn, as to what topics you would like to learn, whether you're starting out or if you're having few hurdles in your art journey, and if there's something that you want to want to push through and go beyond that and really start getting ahead. Okay, yeah, just let me know what those topics may be for you, and I'll be happy to put in that that free training material for you. All right, so going once. So let me know if you have any other questions. I think not. Let me just check. Sometimes I cannot see until I log into Facebook. So give me a moment. Okay, yeah, no more questions so far. All right, so thank you so much. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you the studio. So let's see. I cannot move much, but so it's about 300 square feet. I still have to do the windows and stuff, so that's why there's a ladder. So it's a concrete floor, and I still have to hang some of the works. And that's one wall. I still have to arrange few things. That's that. And there. And that's my home in the background. Okay. All right. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys again. I think I'll probably do a live either tomorrow or on the weekend. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. And the enrollments have begun for the month of November for the Creative Leap Academy. So if you want to jumpstart your oil painting journey, and if you have a very busy lifestyle, because I'm also a working engineer, so I also do this when I have time. So if you have a busy lifestyle and you are an aspiring artist to get ahead, get started, and create a body of work that resonates with your unique voice, please let me know in the comments. We can work and we can set a goal for you, and we can create a roadmap that's fully personalized for you, and I'll be able to coach you through this journey. And I hope that some of you would be interested, and let me know. We've got some amazing students in the group, and they're doing really, really well. And I'm happy that some of you are here. And yeah, so let me know. And I'll keep you posted on the free resource as well. All right. So I have another question from Cheryl. Are you painting under fluorescent? No, that's an LED. It's an LED light. I don't paint in fluorescence anymore. So these are LEDs, and they give out daylight, which is around 500 Kelvin. Sorry, 5,000 Kelvin. It's about that. So it's about 5,000 to 6,000, and it can even go warmer if I have to. So it does change color. So that's a good thing about these LEDs. So that's why I enjoy having them here. And I also have two windows, so hopefully I don't need it as much as required, because I like working under natural light. So yeah, that's about that. Thanks for asking. All right. Okay. It's almost half hour, and thank you for joining, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care and happy painting.